We want to go into the lesson today, and I have entitled it, At the Edge of a Cliff. And oftentimes when we go through these lessons, we want to know how we as truth students will always act, respond when we are faced with situations that are a little overwhelming. And we know that life never promised that we'll not have challenges. Challenges will always come, but we want to always respond to these challenges from that position of knowing who we are. So we're going to the lesson. At the edge of a cliff. What do we do in critical moments of challenge and decision making, where our usual faith and confidence is absent? You want to process this question. What will you do when you're faced with a challenge? When you're at the edge of that cliff, you're in a dilemma, you need to respond. What would you do? When we are at the edge of the cliff, how do we as truth students tap into the connection and overcome? We have this assurance that everything is working out for our own good, and when we stay the course, we'll definitely come to a place of abundance, growth, when we go through this process. But we have to be determined to hold on to the truth. Most times, situations in our life push us to our wits' end, and then we lose sight of who we are and whose we are. And again, we are not here to judge anyone or to criticize. It happens to everyone. Sometimes we just lose sight, we lose focus, and that's why we always encourage everyone to tune in. It's the game we do, forgetting and remembering. So when we tune in, we remind ourselves of who we are. And when we are constantly reminded of who we are, we have a higher chance of acting in accordance to that which we know that we are. So if you're new in this teaching, we will tell you that you are a spiritual being with infinite potential, limitless, never ending. You can never exhaust all the potential that you have been created with. It's limitless, beyond bounds. We have been created with it, and that's what we always want to remind ourselves in all our classes. You have this infinite potential. It's there waiting for your activation. But sometimes we lose sight of that and we find ourselves against the wall, so to speak. Of course, it happens. You're just caught in the web and you find yourself uttering some things you're not supposed to do, or acting or responding in a way that will not bring you to the expected end. And each time we come to this gathering, we want to remind ourselves that we have this connection with life itself. That we have this connection with God, with Spirit, with the Almighty. That we want to remind ourselves that not just that we have this connection, we are the totality of this good. We are the whole bit. And we want to live our lives from that place of connection. If we can only remember who you are, whose you are, who you're connected to, the magnitude of the power that you have within you, at your disposal, anytime, 24/7, you can access and use, then would probably would be responding to any situation appropriately. We talked about when we come from that place of alignment, from that place of knowing. We had a lesson where we talked about an alignment. When we are aligned or dovetailed with divine, it creates a clear channel for flow, and it brings peace that passes understanding. When we come from that, we know our alignment and we align with the divine. There's always peace. Even in turbulent times, it gives peace. We want to fill our subconscious with an understanding that we are the totality of this power. It's not just mere words. That is what it is. We talk about stepping out. You've heard this. You've heard this teaching so many times. It would only work for anyone when you step out in faith. So if you're faced with a situation and you've done your affirmations and you declare and you begin to walk in the direction of what you're declaring that is true, that is positive, right for you, and you see a demonstration, that is what we are talking about. We fill our whole being with this knowing. You know that you know that you know that in this situation only this good would come out. So we want to fill our subconscious with this understanding that we are the totality of this power. It's just sometimes when Dr. Greg says things, oh, you're sick and you're going to the hospital to see your doctors and you keep declaring, every hand that touches me, they are healing hands. It doesn't matter what is happening on that end. What matters is what you know that you're declaring. And indeed, that thing you declare would be so. Because you're filled with the totality of this power that is at our disposal, and we can use it. So indeed, anyone that touches you will be a channel for that healing. So when life throws unwanted things at us and we get distracted, we have the ability to change the focus and start seeing glass. Instead of seeing it from half full, we start seeing it as half empty. And we talked about perception. When you begin to wear the glasses of not enough, not good enough, you begin to manifest that always in your situation. And we forget that God is all that there is. Everything, again, we say that we see in the physical must have a spiritual undertone. So in the subconscious, whatever you're seeing is what you are creating. Remember, we say the universe responds to every thought. So when we forget that we have this energy operating through us and it's unfolding in every situation. Just imagine, sometimes we get tired, we sleep, or we forget some things, but we are connected, we are one with the power that never sleeps or slumbers. Is active 24/7. It responds 24/7. It's just waiting for your prompting. Once you prompt it, it does not delay, it responds. So whenever we are in perilous time or situations, that power responds to us. But again, we are human. Sometimes we go to that place of fear and doubt and forget who we are. But always, our duty, our function, everything we gather each time is to remind ourselves that we are connected to Source. Direct connection. You don't have to go through any medium. You are directly connected. You can access it yourself. You are one with it. You are an individualization of that Source. The Spirit is always in operation in us and through us. Again, that's the alignment we are talking about. Just align to it, dovetail to it, and it flows freely. And once again, we are full of faith. We forget ourselves and we lose sight of who we are. And once we come, we remind you of who you are, and we are full of positive expectancy. And what is positive expectancy? In every situation, you're seeking out for the good, because there is good in every situation. You're expecting the good. You're walking, you're moving from good to greater good. We want to remind you in every of our gathering that you have this power to turn things around at any given moment. You're waking up, you're sleeping, you wake up 3 a.m., you can access it. It's there waiting for you to act. You have the ability at any moment to turn it all around. You have the ability to make the decision, and anytime the power is there waiting for activation. Again, we want to know and never to dwell in the valley. I mean, when things come to keep you tied down in that valley, in that quagmire, in that self-pity, we have also that power to reject all that, to despair and begin to engage in self-pity, doing the fairness thing, what's fair, what's not fair, who is right, who is wrong, and all that stuff. Those are, I think Dr. Greg would say, tissue issues. Those things they come to nothing. They derail you, they derail your focus. That's not what we want to do. Or does any of us have the need to hopefully wallow? You want to wallow in regrets and all that, the blame game? No, if you're in this teaching, you know those things are like weights that slow you down. This might be what every other person is doing, but when we, from this perspective, understand that those things will never get us out of any situation, just like Ernest Holmes and Louise here would tell you that we are responsible for our lives. Sometimes we don't like hearing this, that we are responsible for our lives, but indeed we are responsible for our lives, for what we are creating, for our actions, for our reactions. They are under our control. We are responsible for everything. It's accountability. We are responsible for our lives. Our life, it's about consciousness, and we have allowed certain things to happen. Anything that happens is because we have allowed it. So what are you allowing? We've always known that we have this power to declare a thing and it will come to pass, and anything contrary to what you want, you can also cancel it. Can cancel. That's why we always, on a Thursday class, want you to monitor those thoughts, that they could be creative. And if you know it's going the way you don't want, you nip it in the bud. Cancel. Because that's not what you want to bring forth. And we have the ability to make new decisions just by the flick of the hand. You have that power. And that's what we also want to bring out, that you can, when you monitor those thoughts, you know when they're going the way you don't want it. No, this is not what I want. You begin to change those thoughts. Because we know life will respond to every of those thoughts. The universe will respond to it. You have the power to take off the weights and mount up with wings like eagle. Remember, we are talking at the edge of the cliff. What do we do when we are found in those situations? We're telling you that we have the power to mount up with wings like the eagle. And the secret is just keep going. Keep doing. You're doing your affirmative treatment, you're doing your affirmations, you're focusing on all the right things. And while you're doing that, you're not seeing the change. We are telling you to just keep doing that. In just a matter of time, you will see a breakthrough. Utilizing the positive approach that Louise here described, or the affirmative approach that we talk about every week. It's the same idea. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Don't look at the problem. Focus on the solution. Forge ahead and restrain from looking back. You know what? You look back, so much energy, you concentrate, you're changing focus, you're changing direction, you're filling your mind with things that passed yesterday. Just like Dr. Greg will always say, yesterday with all the baggage ended last night. When we look back, we are trying to connect to the baggage. We are trying to connect to the yesterdays, the yesteryears, the things that didn't happen right, the failures, the challenges. We don't want to concentrate on that. We want to concentrate on the solution, on the greater good. The only way out is through staying focused and pushing through. My target is ahead of me, not behind me. I'm focusing on that. Like they say, if you're going through hell, you don't stop. You just keep going. Keep going. The darkest period of the night is just before dawn. You just keep forging ahead. I have a little, I call it a story, with the eagle and the crow that will further buttress this point. I think we have a little picture. The only bird that we know that dares to peck on the eagle is the crow. And what does it do? The crow sits on the eagle's back and bites its neck. Then the eagle does not respond, neither fight the crow. It does not spend time or energy on the crow. Instead, what the eagle does, it just opens its wings and begins to rise higher in the horizon, in the heavens. The higher the flight, the harder it is for the crow to breathe. And eventually, the crow falls off due to lack of energy, due to lack of oxygen. So the eagle does not concentrate on the problems, on the crow that is pecking the back of the neck. All it does is focuses on moving higher, from good to greater good. And when we begin to move, focus on the solution, we find out that the problems cannot survive at the heights we are moving, or at the speed we are moving, whichever. What a great lesson to learn. Never to focus on the challenge, never to focus on the problem. Focus on your target. Focus on the solution. And what happens again is that when we focus on the solution, on the positive, we begin to invite that positive vibe, the energy into us. And it energizes us to move further. So your our challenges will likely give way to new creative heights, new insights, and new opportunities. Always, always, always. So when we are at the edge of the cliff, we want to be mindful again of our languaging. How do you say your words? I will be healed. I'm going to be prosperous. No. I'm supplied, I'm supported in the noun. I have everything I need for life and God. We speak it in the noun. Because we know our words are powerful. You're in this situation, I have direction. The Spirit directs me, not I'll be directed. It's happening in the noun. The power, again, it's in the present moment. And we, through this teaching, want to speak appropriately, so we know we give direct instructions to the universe, because it responds. All it does is to respond. So we want to give the universe the right instructions through what we say and how we say it. All it does, like I said, it's respond. It says it doesn't decide for you. It just responds to what you decide. So we want to stop telling ourselves that we can't do this or we can't do that. We want to stop telling ourselves we do not know what to do. Oh, it's too hard, I can't do it. It's too difficult, I can't do it. Remember, whatever you say, the universe will respond to it. And know that those are hindrances we are creating for ourselves. We want to know we are one with the creative intelligence. You can't say you do not know what to do. When you have the whole intelligence, the creative intelligence within you, you have access to it. All you need to do is go within, quiet yourself, ask questions. It will direct you. It's always there, like I said, 24/7, waiting to respond. When we take our time to meditate, journal, and do our affirmative prayer, we'll get the answers. We'll get the direction. It's like a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. It will direct us. He will speak to you in forms that you will understand. So if you keep saying you can't do this or you can't do that, you're giving the wrong direction. Or it's too late, it's over, and all the other negative things. I mean, I know the one people, oh, it's too late. I'm getting to know about this. It's too late. I can't function at this age. Who told you so? Stop telling yourself those stories. Because what you say, the universe will respond to. So does that not surprise you when you see some manifestations because of some things you said, oh, I can't do this at this age. It's too late. I can't start this business at this age. And you see it happening. The universe will respond to that. And what we are saying is that we can change those things. We can make new decisions and give the universe different instruction, and it will work on it. When we keep centered in our faith and trusting that life is unfolding perfectly at all the time, then we'll begin to have the manifestations that we want. I want to remember what Louise says, in the infinity of life where I am, all is perfect, whole, and complete. The problem, like I said, it's not with you or how you're created. It's about what you make out and how you react to a situation. So if we understand this perspective and always come from that place of connection in all situations, would always see life manifesting as perfect, whole, and complete. Again, what happens is that in life, when we pass through things, we define ourselves by our struggles. Almost like labeling ourselves. Well, I'm not good with this subject. I'm bad with this. I can never get this right. Why do you have to attach those things to ourselves? Again, there are forms of weight that just limit us from expanding, from being who we have come here to be. And from this perspective of this teaching, we want to remind you that you are an individualization of God. So do you think if you are this, that you will be limited, that you define yourself by the struggle? No struggle can actually deter you if you're determined and focused on seeing the good in every situation. And we have this assurance of the universe constantly available and responding to our thoughts. So quit defining yourself by your challenges, by your struggle. There's a little illustration here. Imagine you're carrying a heavy bag full of old books. It's heavy. It weighs you down. You can't move as fast as you want. And each book represents a story you've told about yourself. You told about who you are. And when we have all this, the first thing we'll probably do, if we are trying to come from a place of connection and seek solution, is to first of all pull down that backpack, put it down, and stop repeating those old stories. We don't even know when we do this. Stop repeating the old stories. When you have told these stories, it's almost like it's like auto-repeat. Whenever it taps you, you just start saying the old stories. Those are the first things that come. And all it does is to stagnate you and perpetuate negative experiences. Oh, how are you today? Oh, it's so terrible. And this happened, and that happened. It becomes a chain reaction, ripple reaction. You go from this problem to this challenge, and to the other one, and you connect it to the one that happened last year. It becomes ripple effect, chain reaction of issues. But again, like I said, we are just repeating those things and empowering the universe with the negative things that will yield negative returns. So, of course, what we always want to do is to change our stories, what we are saying. Change those stories. Change it to positive ones. This is what I feel in this moment. I know my understanding from this teaching, I am whole, I'm complete. It's different from saying those stories and believing and defining yourself from those things that happened or you're facing. And nobody's telling you to tell the lie. How do you feel? I feel this moment, but I know and I trust that this is not who I am. Again, when we are at this edge of the cliff, we want to always know that we are not alone, that we are connected and one with Source and all that there is, always. We want to always remember that we are one, we are all connected. And in that connection and alignment comes clarity, comes peace of mind. And if we can quiet ourselves, we know there is so much strength. In strength and confidence, in quietness and confidence shall our strength be. If we can be in any of those times, take our time to be quiet. We'll get direction always, always, always. I like to go through just one or two affirmations and we'll conclude the lesson. There are some affirmations I wrote concerning this lesson. We can affirm that we are one with the one. Of course, we always have heard this, but we can affirm it in confidence. And there's something we always say it until you feel it. Put it all around. We've always talked about you're going through a situation, you have a challenge. You can write your own affirmation and begin to declare it and affirm it. I am an integral part of the universe, and I am seamlessly connected to the infinite flow of life. With every breath I take, I connect to the rhythm of the universe, feeling the oneness that binds all life. I reflect the universe, and the universe reflects in me a cycle of endless unity and love. You are not alone. We all connected. Every experience, like we say, is a teacher to us. And so what does that do? If we know every experience is a teacher, then we as truth students, we always seek out the good in every situation, because there's good in every situation. We do not just say all is well for the sake of saying it. All is indeed well. There's always a learning curve for every valley experience. And in this teaching, we want to always seek out for the good. Always, always, always. And okay, to build the life of our dream, we need dedication, focus, obviously. We put in another, when we put in another form, like we always encourage you to keep tuning in. You would always hear something that would encourage you. You will always hear something you've heard before, and it just puts it in perspective. And you remember, you always hear something that will move you from good to greater good. That's all we do here. Dr. Greg will always say, we teach what we want to learn. There will always be something that you will learn to remind you that you have this infinite potential, that you are powerful, that you can do it. So to build the life of our dream, we need dedication and focus. We have to change the story we are spinning in our head. The thing keeping you from what you want is your story about why you can't have it or why you can't do it. We have to change that story. The story that I'm not good enough, the story that I failed before and would likely fail again. And there was this very profound statement I heard from Dr. Greg, and he says, we know principle is not bound by precedent. principle is not bound by precedent. So if we decide today, now, I'm stopping those stories, whatever the today and the tomorrow for you would be, will not be influenced by the past. No. The principle, the past does not have any hold on you when you apply the principle. That is just as best as it can get. Of course, it just buttresses the issue of there's so much power in the present moment. Power to do anything, power to achieve, power to move ahead is there in the present moment. So the power is within us, and we are here to learn how to activate it. I have a few more affirmations. I'm trying to round up the lesson. I just read the affirmation. I possess an inner strength that is vast and powerful, and I am learning to tap into it each day. I am constantly growing and evolving, discovering new ways to use my power for good. I am empowered by the knowledge that all I need resides within me, waiting to be unleashed. Everything you need for life and godliness, you have. We gather each time to understand who we are and find this unstoppable belief in ourselves. I am unstoppable, you are unstoppable. You alone can stop yourself. I mean, we always, on tomorrow, learn how to love, accept, and approve ourselves exactly as we are. Because we say, Dr. Greg will always say, we are the most important person in our world. You have to love yourself first before you can love another person. There's one other thing here which we have said in one form. When we find ourselves at the verge of giving up our dreams because life has thrown so many challenges at us, we learn through this teaching to reframe the challenges. Through our understanding, true students see the challenges as opportunities. It's only a phase I'm going through. I'm just going through a challenge. And you reframe it, it's just a phase. I know my eventual outcome will be good. We can always reframe every situation and put it in truth perspective. That's what we do as true students. So we want to also always be grateful for every day we wake up. Grateful. Gratitude, we know, is causative. It's demonstrations for us that we are alive. The demonstration. Okay, one last quote. Rumi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters." So that's reframing. You have a wound, but you know it's through that wound that the light enters. And it suggests that our greatest challenges and pains can be openings for profound spiritual growth and blessing. Again, we always teach ourselves to see the good in every situation. There is good in every situation. At the edge of the cliff, there is good. There is good there. We, with our spiritual eyes, through this teaching, we want to be able to seek those good and begin to walk in it. So in this moment, we are to remember our intrinsic connection with the greater power. Whether we conceive it as God or spirit or the universe, we have this connection with it. And to know that we are not defined by our struggles, but we are defined by our inherent connection to something greater. And that's why we'll say and declare we are the whole bit. We are complete. And we are supplied and supported. And just like the lotus, we want to arise every morning with a positive mindset that yesterday ended last night and everything is new now. And so it is.